In the past couple of vlogs, we've been exploring some of the tools that you can use as a dungeon master. And in addition to the dice and maybe miniatures, the Dungeon Master's screen, this iconic screen of half artwork, half stats that you will see many dungeon masters use in a game. What place does it have? How do we utilize it? And more importantly, what tactica can we use to really enhance our game, to really bring this aspect of Dungeons and Dragons out? Now, like many things in D&D, the DM screen is optional. There are times that I've used the screen. There are times that I have not used a DM screen. And there are times that I really wish I could have been able to use it, but due to the space where we were playing, literally I was not able to set it up. So consider this a piece of optional DM equipment, and when it's appropriate or when you feel like, utilize it. So the first aspect of the DM screen is a physical barrier between you and the players. And this barrier is used so you can set up your maps, you can set up your notes. If you're playing with miniatures, you can kind of lay them all out, or pogs and maps. You can have everything ready to go, ready to bring out, and still keep that hidden from the players. So it's a way to organize your notes. It's a way to organize the game and keep that flow going, keep that flow moving in the game. In addition to this, in addition to the artwork on the opposite side, you'll see various stats and charts, kind of the basic things in D&D that you might need to look up. And this is helpful because one of the things that we're trying to do as a dungeon master is immerse our players in this world. And maybe this is something that you've noticed in your past couple of games. The players sit down at your table, whether it's physical or virtual, and when you sit down, the players are still themselves. They are themselves in this world as they are. Maybe they're thinking about some stuff that while they were on their way to the table, they're settling in, they're getting out their books, their dice, they're calling up stuff if it's virtual. And then as the game begins, the first 2 or 3 minutes, that catalyst, the first 2 or 3 minutes of the game, they're getting into character. You are helping to immerse them in this D&D, this literal D&D universe. And once they get in character, we don't want to break that character. We don't want to break that immersion. When you have to look something up, when you have to reference something, there is the potential to break that immersion, which is, on a side note, why as a DM, we explored this idea that you can't make a mistake as a DM. And once you get past that, it's very, very liberating, and it really helps you to find your vision and your voice. If there's a rule that I don't know and I can't look it up very, very quickly to the point I don't have to worry about breaking the immersion, I'll just make a calling on it. So if a player wants to use an ability and I'm not necessarily familiar with it, and they say, oh, the ability does this and this, or I think it does this, if I don't know and I can't find it relatively fast, then let's just go with it because I don't want to lose that immersion. So the DM screen as a tool to help preserve the immersion. Now let's talk about the ideal placement. And I say ideal because, again, this is not always possible. I like to have the DM screen, if I'm sitting at the end of the table or center to the table, I like to have it a little bit off to the side. So this way, as needed, I can sit behind the screen and play the game from there, or I can move around from behind the screen and now literally no barrier, be face-to-face with the players. So I find when roleplay, R-O-L-E, versus roleplay, R-O-L-L, when we're role-playing, R-O-L-E, I like to be face-to-face with the players. I like to have that back and forth. We do the dice rolls there. We have that flow. Sometimes, not always, the DM screen can kind of break that if you're just kind of hiding behind it and you can't really see what's going on. When it comes to an encounter or combat or initiative, at that point, the excitement is there. Then I can move over from behind the DM screen, or if I need to reference something. So in an ideal setup, I don't like to be anchored behind the DM screen. I like to have the duality of both spots where I can be next to it and we can interface, we can interact, we have that flow, there's no barrier. But then when we switch to combat and I might need to look stuff up or make notes or bring stuff out, having the DM screen there works extremely, extremely well. So think of it as a tool. Ask yourself, explore how can you use the DM screen to help your immersion, to help streamline the game, and to help build that narrative, that D&D narrative in a new and exciting way for your players.